Hi, this is Russell Brunson, and you're listening to the Marketing Megamix with Mark Imperial.
Hi, this is Dan Kennedy, and you're listening to the Marketing Megamix with Mark Imperial.
This is the Action Brand Marketing Megamix, where you'll discover how to grow your business and turn that business into a powerhouse brand that everybody loves. It's time for action. Here's Mark Imperial.
Hey, it's Mark. Welcome to the program. I was recently honored to be invited for an interview by Carl Brown, the esteemed host of the Small Business Report on Sirius XM channel 141. Carl is also the director of the SBDC department at Howard University in Washington, D.C. He invited me on his show to talk about my new book, This is Action Brand Marketing. So although I'll get the air check, I asked him for an advance copy of the video that we filmed while we were taping the program. And of course, it's audio only on the air. So I'm here to share that with you on this program. So enjoy the show, and please reach out if you have any questions about what I shared. Enjoy.
So yeah, we're recording. Hey Jay, we're about to start. Jay's my engineer. We're about to start in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM channel 141. Hey folks, thanks for hanging out with us. And like I said at the top of the hour, I got my man Mark Imperial on the show today, and we're going to be talking about marketing. He has a wonderful book out. This is Action Brand Marketing. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. And Mark is going to tell you where you can get it from. So, hey, Mark, come on in and say hello to the audience, and let's jump 10 toes down into this marketing.
Carl, thank you so much for having me on the program. I am honored, and I appreciate the invitation, and I'm super excited to share.
Well, Mark, I'm going to tell you, man, this is an honor to have you on here because, I mean, you know, like you're the king of marketing. And let me tell you something. I work with a lot of small businesses, and I talk to a lot of small businesses. And one of the things that I talk to them about is what I call the missing link. You know, the missing link. They got a business, they opened it up, maybe retail, maybe online. And I say, okay, well, who do you market to? And then that's when you get the deer in the headlights look, the glass eye, like, huh? Marketing? I thought if I opened the shop, people would come in. No, people are not coming in, especially if it's a food, a restaurant. You know, people are like, oh, I don't know this guy. I don't know who these people are. I don't know if they know how to cook. I don't know, I don't know what they even serving. Because a lot of people in these restaurants don't even put a menu on the door, so that when you're walking by, you can say, oh man, they got prime rib in here. Oh, we might need to check it out. Until you build a reputation, you need to have something to show to people. So let's talk about this, man. Marketing. Why is it important?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Carl, because the way you just put it, until anybody even knows your reputation. And that was like the biggest challenge I see. It's so frustrating. I think they're influenced by that. What's the movie? Field of Dreams. Like they'll build it and people will just automatically come.
Yes.
Oh, man. What frustrated me, marketing is so important because what frustrates me is seeing so many business owners that do great work. They have great products and services, yet how am I going to get the word out? How am I going to let people know about us and what we do? It becomes like an afterthought. And unfortunately, no matter how good their product or their service is, means nothing until somebody buys it or hires them. And therein lies the challenge. So that's why we need to get more awareness to where marketing, and even more important today, marketing and branding together is vitally important if you want to survive, especially in the early years.
So the audience can't see you, Mark, but I can see you. And I see Action Brand Marketing. I mean, you know, we spend so much money putting other people's brands on, you know, wearing other people's brands, but then, you know, I got a restaurant. I don't have any clothing or shirts, t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, nothing with my restaurant name on it. on my retail store, and I think it is critical that, you advertise your brand 24/7, because I talk about this all the time. Everybody sees McDonald's commercials on TV 24/7 on every channel. All right. But we don't advertise. What is that all about? Why don't we advertise?
I think a lot of folks, they don't really understand what they're watching. They don't think about what they're watching. McDonald's, as you mentioned, that's a brand that's been already burned into our brain, into our culture. We know what it is. You only need a little tiny commercial or to see a logo somewhere, and it triggers those feelings already. But the difference is those feelings are already established over years and years and years. The business owners today, I feel, of course, it's an expense. Is marketing an expense? That's probably their biggest challenge, because they just have enough money to buy the ingredients and keep the lights on. Right. And the challenge is, how do I get the word out efficiently? And that is why I created Action Brand Marketing, because there's a branding element and a marketing element that they both have to be in place, but they have to be in the right order. And I'd love to get into that, because I believe people need to market. Hey,
Mark, break it down for them, brother. Break it down. Come on.
I'm going to break it down really simple. Action Brand, I've created it as an easy element, easy acronym for you to understand. Action means acquiring clients and customers through irresistible offers now. That is the direct marketing component of it. You give direct and irresistible offers to the public to get them to give you a try. Now, the brand, notice it comes second. It stands for broad recognition of affinity and novel distinction. That's where everybody starts to know who you are. But more importantly, they need to know what you're about, who you are for, what's your affinity, what's your novel distinction? How are you different than everyone else that is serving that market? What is your novel distinction? And they both have to go in place, because it's like a flywheel. When you get the direct marketing going and people are coming into your establishment or hiring your services and getting the name out there, then the name starts to spread. And then you have a brand. You do not have a brand until you have customers.
There you go. And I like the way you broke it down. Action brand and what it means. And so Mark, it's all in your book, but tell the people how they can get a copy of your book. Because it breaks it down. I mean, it's real simple.
You can get a digital copy. Reach out to me at actionbrandmarketing.com. You can get a complimentary digital copy there. And of course, it's on Amazon.
All right. So, we talked about branding. When do you start branding? What is that? What is that process?
That's a great question, because as I mentioned, you don't own your brand. Your audience owns the brand. It's in the mind of the audience. They own it. And unfortunately, depending on whether people like one brand over another, there are millions, if you have millions in your audience, different interpretations of your brand. But the brand, in essence, is, what do you want to be seen as? How do you want to be seen? It is like you are telegraphing your impression. It's a desired impression. That's what the brand is. Now, of course, none of that matters until somebody buys something. So you do want to have some branding thought in place as you put out your direct response advertising. But the marketing and the advertising, the verbal, the way you talk about your business, the way you express your business, that's more important than the look and feel of your brand. But they do work together, because, as you know, if you don't like how something looks or feels, it doesn't seem right, you may not choose it. So
that's right.
They both have to be in place. But my experience in direct response is, you got to start with a headline. And what is that offer to the world? What is the hook of that ad that's going to get their attention and bring them in? So you have to do sort of both. It's a delicate dance. And the lines between marketing and branding have been so blurred. I grew up in the direct response marketing world, where they didn't even talk about brand. They talked about getting a buyer, a customer, and it was really literally just the words. But where I felt was lacking in my experience working with some of the big brands, I'm like, man, but all this money they're wasting to get that customer, you're not giving an ongoing impression, something that somebody can latch onto and share. And that's where you win heart share by including brand with your direct response marketing.
So I know in the book you break down, you discuss the 5 elements to create an action brand marketing funnel. How does that go?
Are we discussing like the profit loops?
Yeah.
The profit loops of the action brand. So I'll break it down quickly. They're the lead generation loop, the conversion loop, the ascension loop, the retention loop, and the referral loop. So just a broad overview, that lead generation loop, all the things, all the marketing and advertising that you put in place. And of course, advertising is just one piece of marketing, all the things that are in place to bring a customer in front of you that attracts people to you and want to get interest from new leads, new customers. The conversion loop is what sequences, what email autoresponders, what do you have in place that is going to convert those interested parties into actual buyers and clients and customers. Then you go to the ascension loop. The ascension loop is what other products and services do you sell? Because of course you're not trying to lead with absolutely everything under your menu. You're trying to lead with your best sellers, the things that everybody's going to gravitate towards. Then the ascension loop is all the things in the marketing in place that can cross promote and cross sell other products. Then of course, retention loop. Now we're trying to increase the frequency of how often that customer or client comes back to you, which obviously increases your average transaction size. And then of course, the referral loop. That's everything that you've got in place in your action brand that's going to get the word on the street to spread. I hope I explained that okay.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you also, you got to remember that customer experience. When they come in, you got to make them feel like king of the castle or queen of the castle, or else they ain't coming back. So, I mean, I like the way your book is broken down, because at the end of every chapter, it says key takeaways. And, you read you read the chapter, and then you come down and there's a little box and it says, hey, these are the key takeaways of that chapter. And I think that is really good, because then that allows us to remember, and us remembering then leads to implementation. So how'd you come up with that concept?
I love that concept, and I'm glad you asked. It's because in my direct response marketing upbringing and training, that to me, the key takeaways is the equivalent to the most read part of any letter, the PS. So if you skip my whole letter and you read the PS, I'm hoping that some of those key takeaways will pull you back in if you skip something and draw you back to go back and read.
Absolutely. Because I'm going to tell you now, we got about 30 seconds. You worked with, and we can bring this on the other side. Oh, you know what? I want to talk about this. The flea market and the pet iguana. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that, because we got to go to break. So,
hey, cliffhanger.
Yeah, the cliffhanger. Hey, folks, you're listening to the Small Business Report. We'll be right back after these messages. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM channel 141. Hey, folks, I got my man Mark Imperial here. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about branding. We're talking about helping your business, how you can help your business grow, increase your sales. If people don't know about you, they're not going to buy from you. So marketing has to be on the forefront of what you're doing, and you have to develop a message to your customers, and you have to identify your customers as well so that you can market to them. So Mark, before we went to break, man, we were talking about the flea market and the pet iguana.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that, man. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Boy, back in the 90s, I had a hobby. I like pets and animals. So I had a pet iguana, and I discovered that there were these importers in Florida that I could get these wholesale, like I could get pets for myself, But then, boy, I could get them. I couldn't believe the amazing prices I get. Wholesale are like $5 an iguana. So I'm thinking, man, I could get one for myself, but then I have to buy these in lots of a dozen or 24 or whatever. What am I going to do with the rest of them, right? So I called up a buddy of mine and I said, let's get a table at the flea market and let's see what happens. So as you might imagine, it was weird. So everyone gathered around. We got the most traffic because it was an unusual hook. But what I learned from it is that hook that brings you in to the booth, what gets people to hang around and then start getting interest in these pet iguanas, because not everyone had them. So I was getting a million questions. Kids, what do they eat? How do you take care of them? Do they bite? What happens? So I'm like, oh my gosh. What I realized is I was answering the same questions all day long, every day that I was there. But that's what actually sold the product. So it is that verbal branding that sold the product for you. So what I discovered was, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a little booklet, which was an iguana care guide. And I wrote this booklet with all the questions that I got from the people there at the flea market, and I put it all in a booklet so that when people came up to the booth, I could answer the question really briefly and say, here, take a copy of this booklet and it'll tell you all about it. And then lo and behold, the thing that I discovered is within the same day or the following day at the flea market, they were coming back with cash in hand, not only to buy that iguana immediately, but to get all the accessories that I put in the guide that they should have. And they were like already ready to buy. And that's really when I started to discover the power of direct response marketing and education-based marketing, EBM to be more specific. So that's like what started to light me up. And this was in the 90s.
So you worked with Nintendo, Pokemon rather, and Under Armour. What did you learn from working with those giant corporations, multinational, worldwide sellers of products and services, mostly products, but what did you learn from that experience?
I really learned that the big brands focus so much on the customer experience, as you mentioned. And I was in the experiential marketing divisions of those companies, and I got to learn how they create activations, which are events that will create enrollment or joining of a list, or how do you get a product launch. I was involved in Super Smash Brothers Brawl for Nintendo. We did the nationwide tour, so I was in all the major cities and ending in New York City for the sale at midnight of the game at Best Buy. So, wow. But I was involved in the experiential of that event, and they had the one thing that was interesting that made me a obvious choice for these brands to work with is because of my direct response experience. I knew how to create hooks and appeals, which are basically headlines, and what are going to get people to come in and check out what you have to offer to begin with. So I was doing experiential events. I hosted Pokemon Worlds on the Big Island in Hawaii for them, and I did a lot. But I really learned that it's all about the customer and what I want to call community first marketing. And that's
break it down.
Community first marketing. That's where the puck is going. And you're experiencing a demonstration of that right now with your show, Carl. The Small Business Report. You have an audience. You're building a community, and you're building know, like, and trust with this community. They're loving what you share. And now, the world is your oyster. You now are going to be loved and trusted by many. Another form of doing that is with the book. This is action brand marketing. This is how I'm giving, because it's all about the free line is way, exceeded. Everything is free. So you want to give away your best information. Anything that's going to help people to implement, get results. It's results first. So to me, it's all about, the big brands have taught me, build your community first. Build your community and gain heart share. I call it heart share, not market share, heart share. How do they love your brand and love what you're about? And at the end of the day, now they will serve you and feed you forever. as long as you want to, as long as you're offering the products and services that they need behind what it is that you do.
Years ago, this guy was telling me about, and this is before all the explosion of Facebook and all these other things. And this guy, I mean, he must have been a really forward thinking, he was like 50 to 100 years ahead of us in as far as thinking. And he said to us, he said, we're going to build villages, and like you were saying, building communities. And that's what he was saying, like 30 years ago. We're going to build villages, and in the village we're going to thrive because we have built these customers to be friends, and they're going to be pretty much associated with the brand to the point where they love it and they will continue to support it. And I was just sitting there he was doing a presentation in the conference room, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I couldn't see it at the time, and now I see it, and here it is. It is today. You got to build your community. But you got to build that trust, and you have to have that good or excellent customer experience to keep them, because we know brands that have come and gone because they have done things or started using, products that weren't as good as when they did it initially to increase their profit line. So, but at the end of the day, we got about 3 minutes. So what would you tell a small business that is just starting out how to market their company to gain customers?
Sure. First, I do want to point out, Carl, that what I've discovered in my journey of marketing and branding is it becomes the most fun thing that you're going to do in your business. So I don't want anyone to fear it, marketing and branding. I want them to have fun with it, because it really is. This is the social part of your business. This is how you're communicating with your community. So to really get started, if you don't know where to start when it comes to a brand, you really have to just do an exercise that I'll outline in the book. But you want to first start about thinking about who it is, who is your audience that you serve, what do how do you really serve them? And I'll tell you what, I think the best way to probably illustrate it is with my DNA, my DNA acronym, and it starts with this. The DNA of your company is the distinction of novel appeal. What that is it really just means what is your remember the Russell Reeves created the USP. It's a version of the USP. It's my version of USP, which was unique selling proposition, a message to the world that what is it that's unique about you, and that you're going to propose as an offer to the world. So DNA for me, it starts with the D. What are your distinctions? What are you good at? What are your talents? What are your abilities? What are your degrees? What are you good at? That also includes who do you do that for? Now, the N is what's novel about you, because sure, in every field, there's a lot of people that do what you do. If you're a financial advisor, there's lots of folks that do that service. But what makes you unique? There's something in your background. There's something in what you do that makes you unique and novel. Put those together. The third part of it is what's appealing to that audience now. What is their hot button? What keeps them up at night? What's the problem? Somewhere in that intersection of those three pieces is your brand. That's your brand DNA. So I'd suggest business owners work on that brand DNA, think about that, and then it starts to inform everything that you do, everything that you say, all the marketing that you put out, and the promotions.
So, Mark, give them because we got about 10 seconds left. Give them your website again, buddy.
actionbrandmarketing.com.
Hey, folks, there you have it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being on the show. Folks, we'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to the Small Business Report here on Sirius XM channel 141.